Your mind is a battlefield, and every day is a new fight. You don't have to look far to realize that the battle is real and it's happening right inside your head. Every day you're confronted with challenges that are not just physical but mental as well. It's not just what happens to you, it's how you interpret what happens, how you choose to think about it, and how you decide to respond. The war for your peace, for your power, for your happiness, and ultimately for your success, it's all fought within the mind. Let's face it, every single one of us has. You can't have a positive life with a negative mind. That statement is simple, yet so powerful, because it touches on one of the most profound truths about the human experience. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. We live in a world where we often seek external circumstances to change, thinking that once we get the job, the relationship, the house, the financial freedom, or whatever else we desire, we'll be happy, we'll feel fulfilled. But the truth is, none of those external things will ever give you a lasting sense of fulfillment or peace if your inner world is filled with negativity. You see, the mind is a lens through which we view our entire reality. Every thought we have colors how we perceive the world around us, how we react to situations, and how we interact with others. And if your mind is constantly filled with negative thoughts, fear, doubt, self-criticism, guilt, frustration, you are unknowingly creating an environment where positivity cannot thrive. It's like trying to plant flowers in a garden filled with weeds. The weeds will choke the life out of the flowers before they even have a chance to bloom. If your mind is clouded with negativity, you will always be looking for what's wrong, what's lacking, what's not enough. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of feeling like life is unfair, that you're not good enough, that things will never change. When your thoughts are negative, your actions will reflect that mindset. Negative thinking is like putting on a pair of dark, distorted glasses. You may still be looking at the world around you, but everything will appear warped. You'll start to believe that challenges are insurmountable, that your dreams are out of reach, and that success is for others, not you. This is why it's so crucial to understand that you cannot build a positive life with a negative mindset. A positive life doesn't come from wishing for better circumstances or waiting for luck to strike. It comes from developing a mindset that consistently looks for the good, that finds opportunities in every challenge, and that focuses on solutions instead of problems. When you focus on positivity, you attract positivity. Your thoughts create your emotions drive your actions, and your actions ultimately shape your life. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is changing how you view the obstacles you face. If you constantly tell yourself that the world is against you, that you can't succeed, that everything is stacked against you, then your life will become a reflection of that belief. You'll find yourself paralyzed by fear and inaction, stuck in a pattern of self-doubt and negativity. But what if you could train your mind to view every obstacle as an opportunity? What if every challenge you faced was simply a stepping stone on the path to your greatness? Changing your mindset doesn't mean ignoring the tough moments in life. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is perfect when it's not. It means choosing to focus on what you can control, on what you can learn, and on the growth that can come from every experience, no matter how difficult. The more you practice this mindset, the more natural it becomes, and eventually your perspective shifts from one of scarcity to one of abundance. If you want to live a positive life, you must stop giving power to your negative thoughts. You must realize that your thoughts are not facts, they're simply the stories you tell yourself. And you have the ability to rewrite those stories at any time. If you think, I'm not worthy of success, you can rewrite that to, I am more than capable of achieving everything I desire. If you think, I'll never be able to make a difference, you can rewrite that to, I am here to make an impact, and every step I take is moving me closer to that purpose. Your mind is a powerful tool, and you can use it to empower yourself instead of keeping yourself stuck in negativity. This is the essence of mindset mastery. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what's possible, what's good, and what you can control. It's about training yourself to look for the silver lining, to see every setback as a setup for a comeback, and to find the lesson in every failure. When you adopt this mindset, your life begins to shift in incredible ways. But it's not just about changing how you think. It's also about changing how you feel. Thoughts lead to emotions, and emotions drive actions. If your thoughts are negative, your emotions will mirror that negativity, and your actions will reflect those emotions. But when you shift your thoughts to be more positive, your emotions will shift accordingly. You'll feel more confident, more energized, and more open to the possibilities that life has to offer. And when you feel positive, you act with more intention, more power, and more focus. You start taking actions that align with the life you want to create rather than reacting to life from a place of fear or frustration. There's a concept I want you to remember. What you focus on expands. If you spend all your time focusing on what's wrong in your life, you'll see more of what's wrong. But if you focus on what's going right, on what you're grateful for, on the progress you're making, you will start to see more of that as well. When you focus on positivity, you create a positive feedback loop. And the more you focus on what's working, the more you'll see what's working, and the more you'll attract into your life things that support your positive mindset. This is the law of attraction at work, and it's one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Your thoughts are energy, and that energy attracts like energy. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, you're sending out negative energy into the world, and you'll attract more of the same. But when you consciously choose to think positively, when you focus on what you want rather than what you fear, you begin to attract the opportunities, people, and experiences that align with that positive energy. At the end of the day, you are the creator of your own life. No one else has the power to dictate your thoughts, your feelings, or your actions unless you give them that power. And the more you choose to focus on positivity, the more you can transform your life from the inside out. You have the ability to create a life filled with abundance, joy, and fulfillment, but it starts with your mindset. It starts with choosing to believe in the possibility of a positive life. And it starts with realizing that you simply cannot have a positive life with a negative mind. The shift starts now, within you. You have the power to change your thoughts, to change your perspective, and to change your life. The question is, will you make the decision to focus on the positive, to let go of the negativity, and to step into a life that reflects the greatness within you? The choice is yours. A voice inside our head, sometimes it's supportive and encouraging, but often it's negative and defeating. This voice constantly whispers things like, you're not good enough, you'll never make it, why even try? Or, you don't deserve success. These thoughts are enemies, planting seeds of doubt, fear, and insecurity. It's easy to let them take over, but here's the truth. Those thoughts are not you. They don't define you. They're simply programs running in your mind, and you can choose to shut them down. The first step in winning this war is recognizing that your mind is under attack. It's not an attack from the outside world, though, sure, external pressures, relationships, and life events contribute, but the real battle is internal. It's the war between the thoughts that lift you up and the thoughts that drag you down. The negative ones are relentless, cunning, and persistent. They come in waves, disguised as truth, pulling you into self-doubt and fear. But if you look closely, you realize that these thoughts aren't facts. They're just stories you've allowed to take root. And the good news is, you don't have to believe them. You've got to take control. When you recognize this battlefield inside you, you can start to do something about it. You see, most people have never been taught how to win the mental battle. So they live their lives reacting to whatever their thoughts tell them. When a negative thought comes, they believe it, they accept it, and they internalize it. It becomes part of their identity. But what if you could stop that process? What if you could take a step back and observe those thoughts instead of letting them define who you are? The truth is, every thought you have is a choice. The human mind is a powerful tool. And like any tool, if you don't wield it intentionally, it can turn on you. The key to winning this battle isn't in fighting the negative thoughts directly, it's in replacing them with new empowering ones. Negative thinking often comes from fear or insecurity, and if you feed it, it grows. But if you starve it, If you focus on the thoughts that empower you, that show you possibilities instead of limitations, that fuel your passion rather than extinguishing it, you begin to win the war. You have to be vigilant, you have to be conscious, and you have to be strategic. You don't just wake up one day and stop negative thinking. It's a daily practice. Every time a negative thought creeps in, you challenge it. You ask yourself, is this true? Is this serving me? If the answer is no, you replace it. If you think to yourself, I'm not good enough, you can replace that with, I am more than capable. I have everything I need to succeed. If you think this situation is impossible, you can replace it with, this is a challenge I can overcome and I will find a way. You don't just ignore the negative thoughts, you actively rewrite the script. But this takes work. This isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing effort, and it requires practice. It's like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And over time, your mental patterns will shift. The more you feed your mind with positive, empowering thoughts, the more those thoughts will become automatic and the negative ones will begin to fade into the background. One of the most powerful ways to shift your thinking is through gratitude. It's hard to feel fear, doubt, or negativity when you're focused on what you have instead of what you don't. Gratitude forces your mind to focus on abundance, not scarcity. Gratitude redirects your thoughts to the positive, the present, and the possibility that exists right now. When you start your day with a mindset of gratitude, you set the tone for everything that follows. Suddenly, the challenges you face don't seem so insurmountable because you're coming from a place of strength, not weakness. Another key is to be aware of the company you keep. The people you surround yourself with have a direct influence on your mindset. If you're constantly around people who are negative, critical, or who reinforce limiting beliefs, those thoughts will start to feel like your own. You have to make sure your environment supports the mental shift you're trying to create. This might mean distancing yourself from toxic people, or, if that's not possible, finding new ways to protect your mental space. You're not just fighting against the negative thoughts in your own head, you're also battling against a world that is constantly bombarding you with messages of doubt, fear, and limitation. The media, social media, the news, they all focus on what's wrong with the world, what's not working, and what you lack. It's easy to fall into that trap, to start believing that the world is a dangerous, scarce place, and that you don't have what it takes to succeed. But you must remember that you are in control of what you consume. You can choose to feed your mind with things that inspire, things that empower, things that expand your thinking and remind you of your greatness. Another important aspect of winning this war is developing resilience. Life is going to throw curveballs at you, and you will experience setbacks. But setbacks don't define you. What defines you is how you respond to them. Are you going to give in to the negative thoughts, to the despair, to the victim mentality, or are you going to rise above it, learn from it, and use it as fuel for growth? Every challenge you face is an opportunity to strengthen your mental muscle. The more you face adversity and still push forward, the stronger you become. Winning the war inside your mind isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up every single day and choosing consciously and deliberately to think thoughts that serve you. It's about breaking the chains of negativity and stepping into the freedom that comes with being the master of your own mind. The battle is real, but so is the victory. And it starts with you. It starts with making a decision right now to no longer be a prisoner of your negative thoughts. The power to change your life, to change your mindset, and to change your destiny is in your hands. Every battle you win inside your mind is a victory for your life, for your success, for your happiness. So take control, win the war, and become the person you were always meant to be. You can't have a positive life with a negative mind. That statement is simple yet so powerful because it touches on one of the most profound truths about the human experience. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. We live in a world where we often seek external circumstances to change, thinking that once we get the job, the relationship, the house, the financial freedom, or whatever else we desire, we'll be happy, we'll feel fulfilled. But the truth is, none of those external things will ever give you a lasting sense of fulfillment or peace if your inner world is filled with negativity. You see, the mind is a lens through which we view our entire reality. Every thought we have colors how we perceive the world around us, how we react to situations, and how we interact with others. And if your mind is constantly filled with negative thoughts, fear, doubt, self-criticism, guilt, frustration, you are unknowingly creating an environment where positivity cannot thrive. It's like trying to plant flowers in a garden filled with weeds. The weeds will choke the life out of the flowers before they even have a chance to bloom. If your mind is clouded with negativity, you will always be looking for what's wrong, what's lacking, what's not enough. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of feeling like life is unfair, that you're not good enough, that things will never change. When your thoughts are negative, your actions will reflect that mindset. Negative thinking is like putting on a pair of dark, distorted glasses. You may still be looking at the world around you, but everything will appear warped. You'll start to believe that challenges are insurmountable, that your dreams are out of reach, and that success is for others, not you. This is why it's so crucial to understand that you cannot build a positive life with a negative mindset. A positive life doesn't come from wishing for better circumstances or waiting for luck to strike. It comes from developing a mindset that consistently looks for the good, that finds opportunities in every challenge, and that focuses on solutions instead of problems. When you focus on positivity, you attract positivity. Your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions, and your actions ultimately shape your life. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is changing how you view the obstacles you face. If you constantly tell yourself that the world is against you, that you can't succeed, that everything is stacked against you, then your life will become a reflection of that belief. You'll find yourself paralyzed by fear and inaction, stuck in a pattern of self-doubt and negativity. But what if you could train your mind to view every obstacle as an opportunity? What if every challenge you faced was simply a stepping stone on the path to your great? Changing your mindset doesn't mean ignoring the tough moments in life. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is perfect when it's not. It means choosing to focus on what you can control, on what you can learn, and on the growth that can come from every experience, no matter how difficult. The more you practice this mindset, the more natural it becomes, and eventually your perspective shifts from one of scarcity to one of abundance. If you want to live a positive life, you must stop giving power to your negative thoughts. You must realize that your thoughts are not facts. They're simply the stories you tell yourself, and you have the ability to rewrite those stories at any time. If you think, I'm not worthy of success, you can rewrite that to, I am more than capable of achieving everything I desire. If you think, I'll never be able to make a difference, you can rewrite that to, I am here to make an impact, and every step I take is moving me closer to that purpose. Your mind is a powerful tool, and you can use it to empower yourself instead of keeping yourself stuck in negativity. This is the essence of mindset mastery. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what's possible, what's good, and what you can control. It's about training yourself to look for the silver lining, to see every setback as a setup for a comeback, and to find the lesson in every failure. When you adopt this mindset, your life begins to shift in incredible ways. But it's not just about changing how you think, it's also about changing how you feel. Thoughts lead to emotions, and emotions drive actions. If your thoughts are negative, your emotions will mirror that negativity, and your actions will reflect those. But when you shift your thoughts to be more positive, your emotions will shift accordingly. You'll feel more confident, more energized, and more open to the possibilities that life has to offer. And when you feel positive, you act with more intention, more power, and more focus. You start taking actions that align with the life you want to create, rather than reacting to life from a place of fear or frustration. There's a concept I want you to remember. What you focus on expands. If you spend all your time focusing on what's wrong in your life, you'll see more of what's wrong. But if you focus on what's going right, on what you're grateful for, on the progress you're making, you will start to see more of that as well. When you focus on positivity, you create a positive feedback loop. The more you focus on what's working, the more you'll see what's working, and the more you'll attract into your life things that support your positive mindset. This is the law of attraction at work, and it's one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Your thoughts are energy, and that energy attracts like energy. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, you're sending out negative energy into the world and you'll attract more of the same. But when you consciously choose to think positively, when you focus on what you want rather than what you fear, you begin to attract the opportunities, people, and experiences that align with that positive energy. At the end of the day, you are the creator of your own life. No one else has the power to dictate your thoughts, your feelings, or your actions unless you give them that power. And the more you choose to focus on positivity, the more you can transform your life from the inside out. You have the ability to create a life filled with abundance, joy, and fulfillment, but it starts with your mindset. It starts with choosing to believe in the possibility of a positive life. And it starts with realizing that you simply cannot have a positive life with a negative mind. The shift starts now, within you. You have the power to change your thoughts, to change your perspective, and to change your life. The question is, will you make the decision to focus on the positive, to let go of the negativity, and to step into a life that reflects the greatness within you? The choice is yours. What you focus on, you feel. This simple truth is one of the most powerful forces in your life. Everything you experience, your emotions, your actions, your decisions, even your reality, is a direct result of where you direct your attention. Think about it. Every moment, your mind is bombarded with an endless stream of thoughts, experiences, and external stimuli. But your brain can only focus on so much at once. And the focus you choose dictates your emotional state. If you're constantly focused on what's going wrong, you'll feel frustrated, stressed, and anxious. If you focus on what's going right, you'll feel gratitude, joy, and empowerment. The truth is, your mind is a filter. It sifts through all the information coming at you and decides what to pay attention to. If you allow your focus to be consumed by negative thoughts, worries, or fears, you are essentially training your mind to amplify those emotions. In that moment, you are creating a reality based on what you've chosen to focus on. This doesn't just impact your mood, it shapes your life. For example, let's say you're faced with a challenge at work. If you focus on all the things that could go wrong, the potential setbacks, the difficulty of the task, or your past failures, you will immediately start to feel overwhelmed and stressed. These negative emotions then fuel further negative thoughts, and suddenly you're spiraling. It feels as if everything is falling apart. However, if you shift your focus and instead choose to concentrate on solutions, on what you can learn from this experience, or on the opportunity to grow, you immediately shift your emotions. You begin to feel empowered, motivated, and ready to take on the challenge. The task hasn't changed, but your internal experience of it has completely transformed. This idea of what you focus on, you feel, has profound implications. It means that you have the power to control your emotional state by controlling where you direct your attention. Too often, people believe that their emotions are dictated by external circumstances. They think, if only I had a better job, a different relationship, more money, then I'd feel happy. But the reality is, the external circumstances are not as important as how you choose to interpret them. Happiness, fulfillment, and success are not the results of your circumstances, they're the results of your mindset. Think about the people you know who always seem to find the silver lining, who always seem to look on the bright side of life. These people aren't magically immune to life's challenges. They face the same struggles as anyone else. But the key difference is their focus. They've trained themselves to look for opportunities, to appreciate what's working, and to focus on the solutions instead of dwelling on the problems. And because of that, they live in a state of positive emotion, even when life is tough. On the flip side, consider the person who constantly focuses on what's wrong. They may have a great job, a loving family, and good health, but they spend all their time thinking about what they don't have. They fixate on the one thing that's missing or the one problem that's not yet solved. And because of that, they feel dissatisfaction, frustration, and discontent. This is the power of focus at work. What you focus on becomes your reality, your emotional reality, that is. And if you're focused on lack, struggle, or fear, that's what you'll feel, regardless of your external circumstances. It's important to recognize that focusing on what's wrong or what's missing in your life is not a productive or empowering way to live. While it's natural to experience negative emotions from time to time, it's the constant focus on these feelings that drains your energy, limits your potential, and keeps you stuck. Your brain has a natural tendency to focus on what's negative, a survival instinct that helped your ancestors identify threats in the environment. But in the modern world, this negativity bias can actually work against you, preventing you from seeing the opportunities around you and stealing your peace of mind. So how can you break free from this cycle? It starts with awareness. The first step is to notice where your focus is going. Are you spending more time thinking about what you lack, what went wrong, or what you fear? Or are you focusing on what's working, what you're grateful for, and what's possible? The more aware you become of your focus, the more you can consciously redirect it. You can ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is it helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? If the answer is no, then you have the power to let it go and focus on something that empowers you. It also helps to practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting your focus. When you start each day by focusing on what you're grateful for, whether it's your health, your family, your opportunities, or even just the simple fact that you woke up, you immediately train your mind to look for the good in your life. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It means choosing to focus on the positive aspects of your life, regardless of the difficulties you may be facing. When you do this, you begin to feel better, more centered, and more in control of your emotional state. Another powerful way to shift your focus is to visualize the life you want. When you focus on your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations, you create a mental image of your desired future. This mental image becomes a guiding force, helping you navigate challenges and take inspired action. The more you visualize your success, the more real it becomes in your mind, and the more motivated and empowered you'll feel. You're not just focusing on what you want to achieve, you're focusing on the feeling of having already achieved it. But it's not just about focusing on the positive aspects of life. It's also about learning how to manage negative thoughts and emotions when they arise. Negative emotions are a natural part of being human, but they don't have to define you. When negative feelings surface, instead of allowing them to take over, you can choose to acknowledge them without letting them control you. You can say, I see you, but I'm not going to focus on you. I'm going to focus on what I can do, what I can change, and what I can create. This takes practice, but over time it becomes a habit. The more you practice focusing on the positive, on the opportunities, on the solutions, the easier it becomes to maintain a positive emotional state. And the more you maintain that positive emotional state, the more you will attract into your life what you focus on. The energy you put out into the world will be the energy you receive back. And that energy will shape your experiences, your relationships, and your opportunities. What you focus on, you feel. So if you want to feel better, if you want to live a more empowered, fulfilling life, the key is simple. Focus on what you want, not what you fear. Focus on solutions, not problems. Focus on gratitude, not lack. And as you do, you'll notice that your emotions shift, your experiences shift, and your life shifts in ways you never thought possible. The power of focus is real, and it's yours to harness. It's up to you to decide what you want to focus on and what you want to feel. The choice is always in your hands. What you focus on, you feel. This simple but profound truth shapes everything you experience in life, from how you navigate challenges to how you approach opportunities. The reality of life is this: your thoughts and emotions are intricately linked, and the focus you choose determines what you feel. Every moment you are making a choice, consciously or subconsciously, about where you direct your attention. And that decision has an immediate impact on your emotional state and your behavior. Take a moment to reflect on your current thoughts. Where are you placing your attention? Is it on something that excites you, something that inspires you, or is it on something that worries you, frustrates you, or fills you with fear? What you focus on in these moments will be the driving force behind how you feel. It may seem like emotions just appear from nowhere, but in truth, they are created by the stories we tell ourselves and the thoughts we choose to entertain. If you focus on the negative, on what could go wrong, on what's missing, you create an emotional experience of anxiety, frustration, or sadness. But if you focus on the positive, what's working, what you can be grateful for, what you've learned, you instantly begin to shift your emotional state in a way that empowers you to take action and move forward. It's essential to understand that your emotions aren't entirely dictated by your external circumstances. We tend to think that we feel a certain way because of what happens to us. If something bad happens, we feel bad. If something good happens, we feel good. While that's true to some extent, the more profound reality is that how you feel in any given situation is largely determined by where you choose to focus your attention. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control where you direct your thoughts, and that is where your power lies. Think about a time when you were faced with a challenge. Perhaps you were dealing with a difficult conversation at work, a strained relationship, or a financial setback. If in that moment you allowed your focus to be consumed by what was going wrong, by what you lacked, or by what could go even worse, you likely felt overwhelmed, stressed, and defeated. These negative emotions then may have influenced your behavior, causing you to procrastinate, avoid the situation, or react in a way that didn't serve you. Your focus on the problem created feelings of powerlessness and frustration, which kept you stuck. Now, think about a time when you approached a challenge with a different mindset. Perhaps you focused on what you could learn from the experience, or you chose to focus on solutions instead of problems. In this case, your emotional state likely shifted to one of empowerment, optimism, or determination. The circumstances didn't change, but your response to them did. And this change in focus led to a more constructive and positive emotional experience. This is a powerful reminder of how much control you have over your emotions. You can choose where to place your attention, and in doing so, you can choose how you feel. It doesn't mean you will never experience negative emotions again, but it does mean that you no longer have to be a slave to them. Instead of being reactive to your thoughts and emotions, you can become proactive and intentionally choose to focus on what's going to uplift you, inspire you, and move you toward your goals. Consider for a moment the people who seem to be perpetually positive no matter what life throws at them. They're not immune to hardship or setbacks, but they've learned the art of focusing on what they can control. They've made a habit of turning their attention to the good in their lives, to the things they can be grateful for, and to the solutions rather than the obstacles. They understand that focusing on negativity doesn't solve anything. It only magnifies the problem. By shifting their focus to what's possible, what's going well, and what they can change, they create a space for positive emotions to thrive, and as a result, they tend to attract more positivity into their lives. On the flip side, consider someone who habitually focuses on what's wrong, what's missing, and what's going wrong. This person may have a great job, a loving family, and a secure future, yet they focus solely on the one thing that isn't perfect. Perhaps they are constantly worried about money, or they feel dissatisfied with their job, or they're upset about a single negative comment someone made. In doing so, they allow one small issue to dominate their focus and amplify their emotional experience of frustration or sadness. This focus on lack and negativity creates a cloud of discontent, and no matter how much good they have in their life, their emotions are shaped by what they are choosing to focus on. The truth is, focusing on what's wrong doesn't help you solve the problem. In fact, it often makes things worse. By focusing solely on the negative, you're not giving yourself the mental space to find solutions or to see the opportunities that may be right in front of you. What you focus on expands, so if you're consistently thinking about what's going wrong, you're only going to attract more of it. The more you focus on what you lack, the more your mind will continue to see lack. The more you focus on fear, the more fearful you will become. It's a self-fulfilling cycle. That's why it's so important to consciously choose where to direct your focus. If you want to break free from negativity and start living a more positive and fulfilling life, you must develop the ability to redirect your attention. This takes practice, but it's one of the most empowering things you can do. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to where your mind goes, especially when things are tough. When you notice yourself slipping into negative thinking, take a step back and ask, what else is true here? What can I focus on that will make me feel better, that will help me move forward? It's also helpful to focus on gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool that forces your attention to shift away from what's missing and directs it to what you have. When you actively seek out the things in your life that you can be grateful for, you train your brain to look for the positive, even in the midst of challenges. This shift in focus has an immediate impact on your emotional state. Suddenly you feel lighter, more positive, and more capable. Gratitude can be a game changer because it forces you to see the abundance in your life rather than the scarcity. Another way to shift your focus is by visualizing the future you want. Visualization is a powerful technique because it not only focuses your mind on a positive outcome, but also allows you to feel the emotions associated with achieving your goals. When you vividly imagine your success, your mind creates a mental image of what's possible. This fuels positive emotions like excitement, motivation, and confidence, which in turn energize your actions. The more you focus on the positive future you're creating, the more you'll feel empowered to take the steps necessary to make it a reality. Ultimately, what you focus on shapes your entire experience of life. If you focus on the negative, you will feel negative. If you focus on the positive, you will feel positive. It's not about ignoring the challenges or pretending that everything is perfect, but it is about choosing where to place your energy. By consciously choosing to focus on what you want, on what's working, and on what's possible, you can shift your emotional state and in doing so, transform your life. You are the creator of your experience, and your focus is the key to unlocking the emotional freedom and fulfillment you seek. Kill the inner critic, amplify the inner coach. This is a principle that holds the power to transform not just your mindset, but your entire life. Most of us at one point or another have faced the harsh voice in our heads that doubts, criticizes, and discourages us. It's that little voice that tells you you're not good enough, you'll never succeed, or what makes you think you can do this? It's the voice that keeps you from taking action, from going after your dreams, and from becoming the person you know deep down you can be. This inner critic, while often loud and relentless, is not an ally. It's a negative force, an obstacle that keeps you trapped in fear, self-doubt, and hesitation. But here's the good news. You have the power to silence that critic and replace it with a much more powerful, supportive voice, the voice of your inner coach. Your inner coach is the part of you that believes in your potential, that pushes you to go further, and that encourages you when things get tough. It's the voice that reminds you of your strengths, of your resilience, and of the incredible potential you carry within you. The difference between living a life held back by the inner critic and one propelled forward by the inner coach comes down to the choice you make in the face of those internal voices. First, we have to acknowledge that the inner critic often comes from a place of fear. It's the part of your mind that tries to protect you from failure, rejection, or discomfort. Its intentions may not be all bad, but its methods are counterproductive. It tries to keep you safe, but in doing so, it keeps you small. It's that voice that says, don't take that risk. What if you fail? What if people laugh at you? But here's the thing, the only way to grow, to expand, and to experience the life you truly want is by stepping out of your comfort zone. Growth does not happen in the safety of inaction. It happens when you push yourself beyond your limits, when you take risks, and when you embrace discomfort as a stepping stone to success. The inner critic, however, works tirelessly to prevent you from doing that. It convinces you that failure is something to avoid at all costs. But what it fails to understand is that failure is an essential part of success. Every successful person has faced setbacks, rejection, and failure. The key is not avoiding these experiences, but learning to embrace them as valuable lessons on the journey to greatness. The inner coach, on the other hand, sees failure for what it truly is, a necessary part of the process, a stepping stone toward success. It encourages you to take risks, to try new things, and to fail forward. To kill the inner critic and amplify the inner coach, you first need to recognize when the critic is speaking. Often the critic's voice is subtle, slipping into your thoughts when you least expect it. It tells you that you're not qualified enough, not smart enough, not capable enough to pursue your goals. It might tell you that you don't deserve success or that your dreams are too big. These thoughts, while they may feel real, are not truths. They are simply stories you've been conditioned to believe. Once you begin to notice these thoughts, you can start to challenge them. You can ask yourself, is this thought based in fact? Is this belief helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? More often than not, the answer will be clear. These thoughts are not serving you. Once you identify the critic, you can begin to shift the narrative. Instead of letting your inner critic dictate your actions, let your inner coach take the lead. The inner coach speaks from a place of empowerment. It encourages you to believe in your capabilities, to trust in your resilience, and to take bold, decisive action even when you're uncertain or afraid. The inner coach doesn't deny fear or doubt. It simply acknowledges them and encourages you to move forward despite them. To amplify the inner coach, one of the most effective tools is positive self-talk. We all engage in an internal dialogue, and the quality of that dialogue has a profound effect on our emotional state and our actions. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that you're destined to fail, your behavior will align with those beliefs. But if you start replacing those negative thoughts with empowering ones, you'll begin to feel more confident, more capable, and more motivated. You might say to yourself, I've faced challenges before, and I've overcome them. I have the skills, the determination, and the drive to succeed. When you repeat these affirmations to yourself, you start to reinforce the belief that you're capable of achieving your goals. It's also important to recognize that the inner coach doesn't just tell you to keep going, it helps you focus on solutions. Instead of dwelling on problems, your inner coach helps you identify the steps you need to take to move forward. It encourages you to break down big goals into smaller, manageable tasks, which makes the process feel less overwhelming. It reminds you that every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. Your inner coach focuses on what you can control and helps you take one step at a time toward your ultimate goal. It's the voice that says, this is hard, but I can do it. I might not know all the answers right now, but I'll figure it out. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm getting better every day. Another way to amplify your inner coach is through visualization. When you close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding, whether it's completing a project, giving a great presentation, or achieving a personal goal, you align your mind with success. Your inner coach is guiding you through that visualization, helping you feel the emotions of accomplishment, confidence, and pride. By regularly visualizing your success, you reinforce the belief that your goals are not only possible but inevitable. This mental rehearsal helps you overcome self-doubt and strengthens your resolve to take action. Another powerful way to silence the inner critic is through gratitude. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from fear and negativity. Gratitude helps you recognize your strengths, your accomplishments, and the support you have in your life. It's a reminder that you are already capable, that you have overcome challenges before, and that you have everything you need to succeed. Gratitude fosters a positive mindset, and a positive mindset is the fertile ground where your inner coach thrives. Of course, it's also important to take action. It's easy to listen to the inner critic and get stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, but the inner coach encourages you to take action despite the fear. When you move forward, even in small ways, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and that you can handle whatever comes your way. Action helps silence the critic and proves to yourself that you are in control of your life and your future. One of the most effective ways to kill the inner critic and amplify the inner coach is by surrounding yourself with positive influences. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, and the conversations you engage in all shape your mindset. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity and self-doubt, it will be harder to cultivate an empowering inner voice. But when you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, and who uplift you, it becomes easier to access your own inner coach. Positive influences act as a mirror, reflecting back to you the strength, resilience, and potential that you might not always see in yourself. Ultimately, the process of silencing the inner critic and amplifying the inner coach is a journey. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to challenge the limiting beliefs that have been ingrained in you over time. But with each step, you'll find that your inner coach becomes louder and more powerful, guiding you toward the life you deserve. The more you trust in this empowering voice, the less power the inner critic will have over you. By choosing to amplify your inner coach, you unlock your true potential. And in doing so, you become the person you were always meant to be. Make a decision to take control. This is not just a simple suggestion, but a declaration of personal power that can completely transform your life. The act of deciding to take control is a conscious, deliberate choice, a commitment to no longer let life's circumstances dictate your actions, emotions, or destiny. It's a recognition that you have the power to shape your future, regardless of the challenges or setbacks that may come your way. This decision is the first step toward creating a life that reflects your true potential and values. And it starts the moment you realize that control is something you can choose to reclaim, even when it feels like you don't have it. Taking control doesn't mean that you will be able to control everything that happens to you, because the reality is we can't control external circumstances. Life is unpredictable, and there will always be elements outside of your influence. However, taking control means you decide how you respond to those circumstances. It means that no matter what happens, you hold the power to determine your mindset, your choices, and your actions. This is the essence of personal responsibility. Understanding that you have the power to create change in your life by the way you respond to everything, from the smallest inconveniences to the most significant challenges. In many cases, the reason we feel like we're not in control is that we've allowed external factors like other people's opinions, our past experiences, or our fears to dictate our behavior. For example, perhaps you've been stuck in a job you don't enjoy, staying there because of fear of the unknown, or because you're afraid of what others might think. Or maybe you're holding on to a relationship that no longer serves you, simply because you're scared to make the decision to let go. In both cases, you're not in control. You're allowing external forces to guide your actions. But the moment you make a conscious decision to take control, you take back the power to make the choices that align with your true desires and values. The key to taking control is recognizing that you are the one in charge of your life. You are the one who decides how you spend your time, how you think about challenges, and how you direct your energy. No one else can make those decisions for you, and no one else should. Often, people fall into the trap of waiting for the right time to make a change, or they assume that they'll somehow stumble upon a moment when everything aligns perfectly. The truth is, the right time will never come unless you create it. You must decide to take control, even when things feel uncertain, messy, or imperfect. Making this decision to take control is a shift in mindset. It's deciding that you no longer want to be a passive observer of your own life. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of your experience. This mindset shift is powerful because it shifts your energy from one of helplessness to one of empowerment. When you take control, you recognize that even though you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control your response. And that response is what ultimately shapes your future. A key part of taking control is learning to manage your mindset. The mind is an incredibly powerful tool, but it can also be your biggest obstacle if you let it. If you constantly allow negative thoughts or doubts to dominate your thinking, you will create a reality that reflects those limiting beliefs. But when you decide to take control of your thoughts and choose empowering beliefs instead, you change the course of your life. Taking control means becoming aware of the thoughts that do not serve you, challenging them, and replacing them with ones that help you move forward. It's choosing optimism over pessimism, action over inaction, and courage over fear. One of the most important aspects of taking control is taking action. It's easy to make a decision to change your life in your mind, but action is what turns that decision into reality. Making a decision is the spark, but taking action is the fuel that keeps the fire burning. Without action, even the best intentions remain just that, intentions. It's in the small daily actions that control is built. It's in the moment you decide to get up and do the work despite the fear or uncertainty you may feel. It's in the decision to face challenges head on, knowing that setbacks are not the end, but just part of the process. When you take control, you stop waiting for permission from others. You stop allowing the opinions of others to dictate your decisions. You stop letting fear of judgment, failure, or the unknown paralyze you into inaction. You realize that the only person whose approval you need is your own. Taking control means trusting yourself, believing in your ability to make decisions, and taking responsibility for those decisions. It means owning your choices, both the successes and the failures, and understanding that you are always learning and growing from every experience. At the same time, taking control also means letting go of the need for perfection. So often people avoid taking action because they fear they won't do it perfectly. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. The perfect moment is always in the future, and you'll never be ready unless you make the decision to take action right now. Perfection doesn't lead to growth. Action does. The more you take action, the more you learn and the better you get at making decisions. Over time, taking control becomes a habit, one that grows stronger as you continue to choose to take the reins of your life. Taking control also means accepting that you are going to encounter challenges along the way. Life isn't always easy, and not every decision will lead to immediate success. But what matters is your ability to face those challenges head on, knowing that they are part of the journey. When you take control, you develop resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, to adapt to new circumstances, and to keep moving forward no matter what. Challenges are no longer seen as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and learning. You recognize that taking control doesn't mean avoiding difficulties. It means facing them with confidence, knowing that you have the strength to overcome them. One of the most powerful aspects of deciding to take control is that it allows you to reclaim your time and energy. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have. And when you take control of your life, you take control of how you spend that time, you stop letting distractions, procrastination, or other people's demands take up your precious moments. Instead, you focus your time and energy on what matters most: your goals, your growth, and your happiness. You learn to say no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that energize you. You prioritize your own well-being and take ownership of your life's direction. The decision to take control is also a decision to become proactive rather than reactive. When you take control, you stop waiting for things to happen to you and start making things happen. You set goals, you take steps toward them, and you don't let obstacles derail you. You create the conditions you want to live in rather than simply reacting to whatever comes your way. This proactive approach is what separates those who live life by design from those who live it by default. Ultimately, making the decision to take control is the beginning of a journey toward personal freedom. It's the freedom that comes from knowing that your life is yours to shape, that you are in charge of your choices, and that you are responsible for creating the life you desire. It's a commitment to stop being a passive observer and start being an active participant in your own life. It's recognizing that you have the power, the strength, and the resources within you to create the future you want, and that everything you need is already inside of you. The moment you make the decision to take control is the moment your life begins to change. And it's a change that will lead to growth, fulfillment, and success beyond your wildest dreams.